This is an interview with Steve Pace. The interview was conducted on November 7th, 2008 in Vancouver, Washington.
I was a college student at Antioch in the 70s, and I used to take long walks in this wonderful wilderness preserve they had called Glen Helen, trying to figure out who I was and what I was supposed to be doing, and I was just felt lost. And one time at registration I saw there was a semester course that was taught by students who had faculty sponsors, and the whole course was to take place in canoes going through Southwest Florida, studying the region from 3 different perspectives. And I didn't really know what it was about, but I signed up because it sounded interesting. And by the end of that time, where I lived with a group of people for 3 months, traveling closely together, working everything out as a group, and studying interesting things about ourselves and the environment and how people use the environment. I had a calling, and I didn't realize, at first I thought the calling was environmental studies, but really it was the process of the education that I went through to find meaning. And after that I was hooked, and I worked at Outward Bound doing something different but with the same process. Surprisingly enough, it's more of a cumulative reward, because you always get back more than you give. And surprisingly enough, that continually happens. Every time I'm asked to serve or I get to teach a class, for some reason, I leave getting more from the students and the experience than I feel like I've provided. And it's a continual opportunity for growth and reflection and a re-energization. Well, I think I did think when Lee was speaking at the time, when somebody said something like that to me, but it was about taking a leadership position. Right after I finished the semester course, it was an environmental field program at Antioch. Rodney Bean was in charge of the program, and I was a very immature young man. I was still searching for meaning in life. I had spent a lot of time doing drugs in high school, and I wasn't sure why I was doing anything. And when I was done with the program, Rodney said, "Well, when are you going to propose and lead one?" And I never in a million years would have imagined myself capable of doing anything like that. And this man's belief in me, his ability to see something in me that I didn't see, was very magical. And I've had I've been very fortunate to have been able to fill that role for many students, seeing what's possible for them. I've discovered I have a gift of being in relationship with people and really connecting with them and seeing what they're capable of. And so that moment, for me, I was able to transform to other people, and that's been wonderful. I think that the challenges that we have behind us don't feel challenging anymore because we've done them. And so none of the things that I've done I remember as challenging now. But what I'm thinking about is what you're talking about, Lee, is the challenge that we face right now, which is leveraging all the things that are making this perhaps an opportunity for us to get the word out. That experiential education does a million wonderful things, increases moral development and reasoning, helps people learn to work together in a peaceful way, makes you mentally healthy. You know, the presentations we got to see at the AE conference this morning with the statistics about just spending a week doing something outside, increased test scores on science exams. That's astounding. So if we're successful in getting the research stuff going with CORE, that will help get the word out. We seem to have a lot of competent people working in AE right now. And with the election of Barack Obama, maybe the time is right for people to find out about us, but not just that we can figure out a way to tell people about us. And I think many times we're working so hard in our own organizations, which are usually poorly funded, that there's not a lot of energy left over or time to make that other effort.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling the time is coming soon. I was with a friend of Dan's, Jay Hughes, at a meeting a week or two ago, and he said something that we all know, that the human mind is not designed to look into the future. We use the past as a touchstone to understand today, maybe a little bit, but we're mostly in the past. And I notice, I teach at a college that's supposed to be experiential, but the only things that my newer colleagues have to imagine from is a traditional university setting.
Right.
And so they're trying to figure out what would be good for us to do and what would be the great thing, and it's whatever it was from where they came from. And instead of getting more progressive in terms of using experiential education, I'm worried that where I work will become less progressive unless we make a conscious effort to imagine how we can use experiential education. And we haven't spent much time doing that recently.
And what you suggest will happen. I mean, it will become less outgoing. It will become less non-traditional. I've seen that everywhere I've been. If you don't fight that constantly, it'll happen. Yeah. Oh well.
Well, it's the evolution of an institution. When you're new and vibrant and breaking boundaries, you also are poorly subsidized, and people really don't care because you're on an adventure and it's exciting, and then you start to become successful and you get funding and you start building buildings, and you become more professional, which is good because you're organized and you use your resources well, but it also brings a certain kind of stasis. That's very true for me. More selfishly, it's conversations just like this. And I've had 3 or 4 really wonderfully thought-provoking conversations with people that I never see except once a year, just today. And when I'm back at home, I might have one every 2 weeks, which is really sort of sad. So it's a very rich environment, and it's not the workshops anymore. And I realize that every time I hear somebody complain there's not enough advanced workshops, it's because we have to do them, and those people that are complaining are the ones that have to step up and do them. And it's seeing these brilliant people that come here and being able to talk to them and listen to them.